The massive potential embarrassment for Omar Abdullah as a provincial president of the National Conference and a very close aide of Omar Abdullah, Nasir Aslam Wani, was caught on camera kicking and abusing a party worker. This just for showing dissent. This shocking incident took place during the National Conference party function in central Kashmir. Fareed is with us. Fareed, this is absolutely shocking. A National Conference provincial president kicking a party worker.
Well, absolutely. This clearly shows the intolerance for dissent within the National Conference. This incident that took place yesterday in the Ganderbal district where there was a National Conference party workers meet in Bihama. There were senior leaders of the National Conference, and during that function there was commotion, chaos as two rival factions of the National Conference who were in fact protesting and demanding a mandate for their candidate of choice for the upcoming assembly elections, created ruckus. And it was during this that the provincial president of National Conference, Nasir Aslam Wani, lost his cool, stormed into the gathering and caught hold of an NC worker who was basically raising a protest against the party for not giving mandate and not declaring the candidate for the Ganderbal Assembly segment. Caught hold of him, and in the pictures you can clearly see he kicked him, abused him, and then it required the intervention of some police personnel and other workers to stop him and calm him down. Now this clearly another shocking instance that has come forward. Not the first one if you talk about National Conference. Previously in April, just before the Lok Sabha elections, we saw another senior colleague of Umar Abdullah, Mohammad Akbar Loan, who's the higher education minister, slapped a party worker in pretty much similar circumstances during Umar Abdullah's function, and that happened in the chief minister. That time also Umar looked the other way, did not react, did nothing of any kind of disciplinary action against the party leader. And today as well, this time around, it is his very close aide, Nasir Aslam Wani, who was also the provincial president of the National Conference, who's being found on the other side of the law. In fact, clearly picture speaks for themselves. He kicked this person, and now it remains to be seen whether Omar Abdullah will again look the other way, or will he take disciplinary action, react to this shocking instance where his leader has shown complete disregard for the rule of law and complete intolerance for dissent.
Well, like you're saying, Fareed, two issues that come up here. One, that the National Conference clearly does not tolerate any sort of dissent, and two, that Omar Abdullah seems to take no action against party colleagues who behave like this. I mean, earlier, as you were saying, there was an incident of slapping, but this is kicking. What kind of atrocious behavior is this?
Well, absolutely. It, in fact, seems to be filtering from the top, and National Conference previously, I mean, if you do not take action against the leaders who in this kind of brazen display showed utter disregard for rule of law and complete intolerance, then it can become a trend. Now, previously, as I said, there have been several instances where the chief minister has not acted against his own party colleagues who have been clearly found to be on the wrong side of the law and have created indiscipline in various ways. And this time around, it remains to be seen whether the chief minister will again not react, because you're talking of a chief minister who has been pretty active on almost everything. On Twitter, he has reacted to things at the drop of a hat. He reacts on Twitter, really gives out his views on every issue, almost every issue. But when it comes to keeping his own house in order, he seldom reacts. So this time around, we'll have to wait and see whether this action of a close aide of his really attracts some kind of reaction from the chief minister. It's time that he acts, because this kind of behavior is increasing in the National Conference. Previously, as I said, there have been instances where there have been clear evidence of NC leaders breaking the law, doing all sorts of things which clearly are against democracy, and this time around it's clear. Basically, it's a kick for dissent in the National Conference. You show dissent and there is complete intolerance, there's not acceptance, and they just beat people into submission just because they show dissent. There seems no internal democracy in the National Conference. It remains to be seen whether the chief minister will come out this time around and will react, will act against his own party colleague for this gross indiscipline and this kind of behavior in full public view. Back to you.
Now, also, Fareed, do tell us, as you're saying, these are two factions of the National Conference, factions regarding the distribution of tickets for the upcoming assembly elections. Is that what this entire fracas is about?
Well, absolutely. This Ganderbal area for the National Conference is an area which is factionalism-ridden. There's a lot of factionalism. There are rival camps who have been openly voicing their dissent against the continuous delay in giving out mandate from the party high command. And yesterday, this dissent was out in the open. Rival factions openly raising slogans against each other, raising slogans against the party high command for delaying the naming of the candidate for the Ganderbal constituency. There are basically three factions. There's a faction who demands mandate for the local leader. There's another faction who demands mandate for Chief Minister Omar Abdullah himself. So that dissent was out in the open, and it was during that this leader of the National Conference lost his cool and clearly came out and beat up, in fact, kicked this particular person. So this constituency is completely faction-ridden, and remains to be seen what the reaction of the Chief Minister would be, one on this particular incident and the general factionalism that the National Conference has seen, especially in the Ganderbal constituency.
Also, do tell us, Fareed, how senior is this person, this leader of the National Conference, the provincial president who is caught on camera, Nasir Aslam Wani? How senior a partyman is he?
Well, you can call him the closest aide of Omar Abdullah, considering that he is from his close coterie, and the very fact that he is the provincial president, which is, of course, the highest party post after the post of president that Omar Abdullah holds for himself, the working president of National Conference. So that tells you that he is the topmost. He, along with some other leaders, is the closest to Omar Abdullah, and that is why this particular incident assumes much more importance, because there is a person who, as I said, is close to Omar Abdullah and has done such an act of indiscipline and brazen show of intolerance in public view, show of intolerance for dissent. So now remains to be seen, as I said, what action Omar takes, how he reacts, whether he looks the other way, whether he dodges this one as well, or whether he'll come out and act, because this is not the first incident of this kind. Previously also his ministers have been found doing the same, but Omar has always looked the other way.